위리혁명가자 김정일 동지께와 최고인민회의 상임위원회 위원장이
조선민주주의인민공화국 조선민주주의인민공화국 국방위원회 위원장이시며 조선인민군 최고 사령관이신 우리 당과 우리민의 위대한 영도자 김정일 동지께서 중국 국가대표단을 접견하신 소식을 여러 나라 중심하시고 신선적인 분위기 속에서 담화를 하신다고 전했습니다. 중국 쌍방은 핵 문제를 대화를 통해 평화적으로 해결하는 것을 지지하였다. 조선측은 육자회담이 동시 행동 원칙에 기초한 핵을 타결안을 실현하는 과정으로 된다면 앞으로 육자회담에 나갈 용의를 표명하였다.
위리혁명가자 김정일 동지 불후의 보전 종로자
선거를 사이에서다 방열된 선거를 즉시 집행하시오.
저걸 빠르게 게 아니라 된다고. 아버지 사도선 당깁니다. 아버지 빈사선들이 오늘 다 살아있고 아버지 보관하시고 이웃하시는 주의보에서 나타납니다.
찢어지네 없어 내 마음 괴로워하네 너를 사랑해 내 손과 발 지키려네 너를 위험에서 건지려 내 몸을 던져 널 위해 내 손과
Here on the sidelines of the Crawford Australian Leadership Forum, I have the great pleasure to interview Professor Song Min Soon, who is the President of the University of North Korean Studies in Seoul and a former Foreign Minister of the Republic of Korea. And we're going to talk about North Korea's nuclear program. Professor Song, could I start by asking you, why has North Korea developed its own nuclear capabilities?
Well, North Korea has a long history of developing its own nuclear weapon. It continued about, I think, more than half century. So in 2006, they first tested a nuclear bomb. There are some motivations they have in mind. I think first, since 1960s, 70s, they thought their conventional firepower, conventional capabilities, not in their favor. So they wanted to compensate the military balance. And they also wanted to develop nuclear technology for the sake of power plants, because there are shortage of electricity. In South, we do have about 30% of our electricity is provided by atomic power. And I think most important thing about these two motivations probably is to uphold their regime. You know, the North Korea is dynastic dictatorial regime. They want to keep their regime by having some prestige, showing the prestige to their people that we do have a nuclear bomb, we have a nuclear power plants, we are a great country, so please support us. That kind of domestic political reason, I think, prevails as well.
And does this demonstrate a paranoia about the outside world? Is North Korea's concern, security concern, justified in your opinion?
Well, they are in paranoid situation, but to our view, I don't think it is justifiable. We don't have any intention to invade or attack them. Actually, during the Korean War, North Koreans attacked South. That means they put their vice versa. When they are weak, they may be attacked by the South, allied with the United States. But that's not totally not true. So I think it's because of their regime's paranoid mentality is behind there.
So since the mid-1990s, in fact since 1994, South Korea, the United States, Japan and other countries have tried to develop regimes for managing North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Yes. Since the first North Korean nuclear crisis. These regimes have not worked. Why haven't they worked? Have they been inadequately designed, or will simply nothing work to deter the North Koreans?
Well, actually, before 1994, there was another agreement between South and North in 1992. It was a South-North Joint Denuclearization Declaration. And then it failed. And then in 1994, there was an agreement between United States and North Korea, which was mentioned, the Geneva Agreement. And then after that, also in 2005, there was a six-party talks. And we call it September Joint Statement at Six-Party Talks. These were three major agreements we made with North Korea. As you said, it failed. Why? We failed in implementing these good agreements because of the lack of mutual trust. When we implement the agreement, it is something like exchanging mutual cards. You know, I give out my card, and you give out your card, and then we exchange in the middle. We need a sort of art of synchronization of give and take. But in the case of North Korean nuclear problem, the cards we are having, both sides, are not symmetric. For example, North Korea wants to stop their first. North Korea is demanded to, we demand them to stop their nuclear plants operation, like reprocessing or something. But at the same time, for example, the United States lift sanctions step by step, and on all parts give some economic assistance. These cards are very difficult to synchronize. At the beginning it goes, but in the later stage, when North Korea was requested to dismantle, actually scrapping their facilities step by step, they want to have secure the United States action on normalization of relations with North Korea. But as you know, normalizing relations with the country is a long procedure, right? United States wants to some transparency of the regime and the human rights, and they are guaranteed not to affiliate with any terrorism or something. So these cards to be played by Americans and the North Korean steps to dismantle, scrapping the facilities, very difficult to match. They want the Americans act first. But United States could not keep out the first before North Korea take concrete steps. So we need to coordinate these two steps by both sides and well synchronized. That's the key. And we failed to make it. But actually, in 2005, North Korea clearly pledged, in the presence of five other parties, including China, that they would give up all nuclear weapons and the existing nuclear programs. Even though these days they are now stepping back, but so far, most clear and formal agreement was that joint statement in 2005.
Now, you were a member of the six-party talks.
Yes.
You were one of the negotiators. Is this an effective mechanism? Is this something that you would advocate starting up again as a way of trying to moderate North Korea's actions? Or in your opinion, have the six-party talks outlived their usefulness?
Well, actually, six-party talks, if it fails, I don't think we can find an alternative. People say that the six-party talks is dead, but when it is dead, we have to find an alternative. But nobody now produces an alternative. I think the talk system was not itself was not a problem. The basic, as I said, the basic mutual mistrust is the problem, and then how to reduce this mutual mistrust is the key to succeed in any negotiation. Iran's case, for example, in the case of Iran, Iran has been exposed to the outside world for many years, even before the Khomeini, and then even after Khomeini, Iran was interacting with outside world. North Korea is not doing that kind of interaction with outside world. I think we would first promote the interaction between North Korea and the outside world and get these people know about how to build mutual trust. To my view, for example, South Korea, United States, and Japan combined, we do have strong power, formidable power vis-a-vis North Korea. If we do have more confidence that even a small failure in implementing, we can afford. North Korea think that they cannot make even a small step of failure. So we take some initiative and lead them out of their isolation. I think is the way to start it.
Now, North Korea's closest ally is China. China has obviously become frustrated with North Korea over its nuclear weapons program, and yet China has backed North Korea over things such as the sinking of the Cheonan, for example. What role should China be playing in helping to moderate North Korea's behaviour? And does China have leverage over North Korea?
Well, China certainly has a very effective leverage. Even today, if China shut off its pipeline on the oil and other food assistance and other daily life provision, then North Korea can hardly sustain the system. But China cannot do that. People say that China has a concern over North Korea's nuclear program. But China also has a fear about the collapse of North Korea. China simply cannot accept a collapse of North Korea that may lead to a Korean peninsula unified by the terms of South Korea, which is militarily allied with the United States. That's simple. Long history, China proved its policy. Thousands of years. That's geopolitics. So we have to overcome these geopolitical constraints. That was the reason why in the 2005 at the Six-Party Talks, we introduced peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Means denuclearize the Korean Peninsula between South and North, peacefully coexist for longer term. And in the longer term, we would find a modus vivendi of Korean Peninsula, which is acceptable not only to both Koreas, but also this geopolitical constraints means United States and China's mutual interest. That was the formula. So I think this formula we reached in 2005 is very good. Better than anything that has ever been formulated. But implementation. And then implementation means in the course of negotiation, stronger power needs. When stronger power take actions, it is regarded as an initiative. But weaker power takes initiative, it is regarded as a subjugation, right? Capitulation like that. So China has that kind of predicament. But still, I think China now needs to take more bold action in moving this implementation ahead. As I said yesterday's seminar here, Chinese are saying that Asian security by Asians. Xi Jinping said it. But if he really meant it, China needs more proactive action in implementing this agreement.
So you mentioned the broader region. Is there more that the broader region, including Australia, can do to help bring about a more satisfactory situation on the Korean Peninsula?
I mean, satisfactory to whom?
A more stable, more predictable, peaceful situation on the
Well, I'm reminded that people say, without stability of your neighbor, without the stable neighbor, you cannot have your own security. So I think we need to give some, not only security assurances, but also some economic and social assurances to North Korea so that they first live in stable condition and then find a way to give up weapons. The first way they argue is, North Koreans argue is, lift sanction on us and recognize us as a country, normalize relations, and talking to Americans. But as I said, Americans, United States policy does not allow it. United States is not going to normalize relations with a country which has nuclear bomb outside the NPT system. And then this gap should be bridged between some parties. I think, to my view, that job can be done by South Korea and in collaboration with China, because China has to guarantee North Korea's follow-up action of dismantling their nuclear program in case United States takes an initiative. In my country, on this position, there has been always diverging views between governments and change of governments, like in your case here, change of governments changes some policy, but we need a consistent policy in that direction.